What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. Naruto, born into rare long destroyed angel, hates humans. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments, and also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. 7 years ago. Mom, stop, she shouted. Rina, dear, I have to comb out your hair. It's full of knots. Why? What's the point? It'll look the same. Honey, we take a family picture every year. The Tiochi family always sends a picture to the others who live on the south side. We have sent one since the year you were born. Then why don't we have a picture with Dad? She mumbled. Your father, he was captured the day before you were born. Orochimaru is the only person I hate, mainly because he took your father. Now come on, I'm done with your hair, and it's time for the picture. Aki, Rina shouted, it's time for the picture. I'm coming. Good, you're wearing that special kimono we bought you, Aki said, looking at the blue and green kimono with flowered sleeves. Aki was dressed in a long, lavender kimono with short sleeves and a jade necklace. Their mother was dressed in a long, bright red kimono with a gold garter. The three got in front of the camera and got the portrait, and the whole time Rina thought about her father. He was captured and killed by Orochimaru, and she couldn't think about anything else. When they got home, Rina had a strange feeling in her body. She knew why, but she hated it. I'm tired of this. Mom, why doesn't this happen to Aki? She said. There was an old legend about a woman who was called Hell's Angel. She was a killer, destroying people sometimes just for fun. She killed millions in her lifetime, and she finally died after she was captured. Of course, as some don't believe, there is a heaven and hell. As I hope you'd expect, she went to hell. In heaven, those who truly deserve to be there are called angels. In hell, she was an angel. Of course, that's where she got her name. This legend was real, and the woman who was Hell's Angel happened to be Rina's grandmother. When Rina was born, a piece of her grandmother's soul was put inside her. Her grandmother can control her a bit sometimes, and she hates it. The odd feeling was created when her grandmother wanted to control her or tell her something. You know why this happens. She chose you. You were special to her. Her grandmother gave her special powers. She can even change Rina's form to look like her own, although she only did it for defensive reasons. If it's bad enough, Rina's grandmother will protect her, using Rina's body, of course. Still, there was much more for her to find out. The Tiochi family was unable to use genjutsu, and they were masters of earth ninjutsu. Taijutsu was okay, but Rina was a master. She could also use weapons very well. There was still one thing. She couldn't control her grandmother's will. 6 years ago, when Rina was 11, something unforgettable happened. Two men came to her house one evening. When her mother opened the door, it seemed as the men had rehearsed what they'd told her. Excuse us, miss, but you're that Tiochi woman, right? Of course. What's your reason for coming here? She replied. Well, began the second man, your daughter is Rina, correct? As you know, she is the granddaughter of Hell's Angel, and has a piece of her soul inside of her. That makes her Hell's Angel, you know. I'll be right back. I need to go put dinner on the table for my husband. I'll be right back. But, one man started. As expected, he knew her husband was dead. Rina, she frantically whispered. Aki, take Rina upstairs, and don't make a sound. They're back, and this time, they won't give up. Rina was terrified. She'd done this before, but had no clue what to do if anything happened. She relied on Aki her whole life, and didn't really think about what to do. The sisters ran upstairs as silently as possible. Their mother opened the door again, knowing the men weren't happy. Stop your stalling. We'll stop and get to our point, so cooperate. The first man said. Give us your daughter. She must be killed. Her grandmother could control her any second and destroy the entire village. She can control her powers. It's not necessary to do this. She could save the village someday. Miss, if you aren't willing to listen, we will do anything we must, one shouted. Her mother backed into the house, and the men followed. Rina could hear the breaking glass and shattering dishes below. Because she didn't know what was happening, she used a technique she learned years ago. She could sense what was going on while, at the same time, being temporarily blind. It was called Jinzo Juki. Rina gasped after just a moment of watching. Aki, she whispered, almost in tears, I know. Aki replied in a monotone voice, Rina, stay up here. You can take care of yourself now. Don't worry about me, or Mom. Worrying takes the bravery away from your thoughts. Aki slowly walked downstairs, only to see the damage that was caused. She grabbed her large katana and aimed it from the stairs, hiding behind a post at the top. Aki threw it, and it hit her target. It killed one of the men, and the other noticed in seconds. The man was quick, and grabbed Aki by the neck, lifting her into the air. "You may have some experience," he said in an angry voice, "but I've got more." Aki was strangled and killed by the next minute. Rina ended her jutsu, and thought about what to do. "There you are," said the man as he walked into the room. Then, everything went black. Still 6 years ago. Rina woke up around midnight, still remembering what happened. She looked to her right, and was nearly scared to death. She saw the lifeless body of the man from earlier. As Rina walked downstairs, she saw everything. Her mother and sister both lay on the ground, breathless and full of emptiness. The other man was there, too. Rina did kill the one upstairs, and she knew it. "I didn't want you to do this." "Why? What did anyone gain?" Rina thought. "What do you think? You should thank me, granddaughter. I gave you your life." Rina was all alone, so she walked into her sister's room and fell asleep, for there was nothing else to do. She had to think this through. When she woke up, there were Anbu members in her house. They were finding out what happened. "That is the only possibility," said one member. "She must have lost control and killed her sister and mother. Then these two came to help, and were killed in the process." "How could you think I did this? That's not at all what happened," Rina shouted. "She's obviously unable to control her powers. Arrest her immediately." Rina ran from everyone chasing her, still terrified about the night before. She ran for what seemed like hours, and then Rina was finally safe. She sat down in the middle of the forest by the rock village. Rina knew there was no reason to hold it back, so she began crying. It was mainly for her mother and sister, yet some of it was for herself. How could they accuse her of killing her own family? Still, not all of her family was dead. Most of her family lived in the south side, but they wouldn't accept her after they hear about this. She was alone. Rina waited until night fell. She began walking, not knowing where she'd end up. She slowly went on, and eventually ended up at her house. When she entered the house, she looked around, and saw that the bodies hadn't been removed. She looked at her mother, then at Aki. Rina leaned down next to her sister. Aki was still wearing her special jade necklace when she was killed. Rina took it off her sister and put it on herself. It was all she had to remember her sister. The next day, the Anbu came and got the 4 bodies. No one from the Anbu ever came back there again, so Rina had no worries about them. Still, there was the matter of surviving alone. Also, she had to find a way to keep anyone from looking for her. The day after, she had an idea. People had searched for her in the woods where she hid before, so she'd use her plan there. Rina was able to make earth clones, which, unlike shadow clones, wouldn't deteriorate if they got hit. She would take the clone and make it look like it had been killed, so they'd believe she was dead. Of course, the clone would break apart when they tried to take the body. That would help even more. After Rina's grandmother died, her body seemed to be unreal. It flaked apart, just like the clone would. Rina went past everyone searching for her into a small, empty area. She created her clone and went through with her plan. She stayed to watch what happened. Somehow, the people believed her. They thought Hell's Angel was dead, and they wouldn't even get the slightest bit suspicious. Rina wondered how that was possible, but she had no reason to question their stupid logic. As long as they thought Rina Tiochi was dead, she was perfectly out of harm's way, sort of. 4 years ago, Rina was 13, which meant she could get a job in her village. She'd been getting by on the money she still had, since she really didn't need that much. Of course, she got a job at a shop in the marketplace, the only places that do hire people. There was actually one place where she asked about a job, because she automatically had it. Rina would begin working at the bakery the next day. The bakery was owned by Itame Hito, a single mother with an 8-year-old daughter named Kure. They'd needed help there for a while, and Rina was the first to ask. The two seemed like nice people, and there was no reason to decline, and besides, she asked them for the job anyway. Itame always spoke of moving to the Leaf Village with her daughter. It was safer, closer together, and it had a better academy. She just needed the money to get there. That was the only reason that the poor woman and her daughter had the somewhat small bakery in the first place. Kure wanted to move there, too. She wanted some friends in the village, but there were no other young children in the rock village. Rina worked at the bakery for weeks, months, almost a year. She enjoyed working there, and there were many reasons. Itame and Kure were so kind and considerate, and they really were friends of Rina. She couldn't believe she liked them so much. In fact, she felt like family around them, and Rina knew they felt the same around her. Sadly, Rina hadn't been there long when she stopped working at the bakery, but she was still okay, and so were Itame and Kure, for a while. 3 years ago. Are you sure you're okay? Itame asked. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me, Rina assured her. But you haven't touched your birthday cake, and we made your favorite, lemon cream cake. I'm just a bit worried. I always have a feeling that I'm being followed. Don't worry, Kure told her, you have the world to look out for you. Rina smiled at the 9-year-old. She was a kind little girl, and Rina felt like she'd known her for her whole 14-year-old life. I should get home. I hope you two have a wonderful life in the Leaf Village. Goodbye, Rina. You're a great girl. Remember your coat, it's freezing outside, Itame reminded her as she put on her coat. Rina began walking home, still feeling like she was being followed. She turned around, only to look up at a tall man with white hair. What's a young girl like yourself doing out here at a time like this? Besides, that Hell's Angel girl isn't really dead, so she's still lurking around out here. I suppose you know who I am, Rina responded in an emotionless voice. That's right. You know, everyone thinks you're just a killer, and your hell side has already eaten away your angel side. Plus, you have no place to go. You could come along with me, Rina Tiochi. Where I come from, killing is an everyday thing. You'd fit in perfectly. I guess I'm better off. Rina followed the man to a camp outside the village. What should I do? She thought, he's from the Akatsuki. What should I do? You know Rina, you're an individual. You fight alone. There's no reason to stay with this lunatic. That night, after Rina met the man, who just said his name was Hidan, she met his ill-mannered partner. His partner's name was Kakuzu, and he didn't seem too happy with the fact that Hidan brought back a 14-year-old girl. After a few awkward exchanges, they went to sleep. Rina ran away like any other sane person would. Still 3 years ago, Rina always had a problem with people. In the rock village, there were a lot of thieves. Many people tried to attack her, for she was one of the only people in the north side who walked alone. Luckily, she became skilled with traps. Rina killed most of the people who threatened her, mainly because they walked into her traps. The next morning, Rina walked around the marketplace, trying to find something good for breakfast. That's when she got caught. You, what did you think you were doing? Shouted Hidan as he grabbed her arm. I have no reason to join you. These people don't know anything, and I feel safe here, Rina replied, slowly pulling away. You seem a bit too confident, little girl. How about a bet? What kind of bet are we talking about? Rina questioned. Well, let's have a fight. If I win, you have to come with me. If you win, I'll leave you alone. It's a bet, Rina shouted. The two entered a large, empty field to begin the fight. Hidan grabbed something from his back that Rina hadn't noticed before. He grabbed a large, 3-bladed scythe. Rina grabbed a long piece of wire, 10 kunai, and 30 senbon needles. Let's stop this and just fight right now. Hidan shouted. I couldn't agree more. Hidan threw his scythe, and Rina easily dodged. She created an earth clone and used a jutsu she had just recently created. Earth style. Rina began as she and the clone jumped high in the air, stone drill. Just like the technique implied, she spun around with her clone to create a drill. Hidan moved just in time to keep from getting hit. The drill was, as the jutsu said, as hard as stone. It pierced the ground, creating a field of broken rocks. It appeared that only Rina was standing, and her clone was gone. Let's try this again, Hidan said. He threw his scythe at Rina again, knowing he had a closer target. She caught his scythe this time, and realized he held a rope attached to it. She pulled it forward, forcing him to move a few feet towards her. Then, Rina was gone. Rina used her clone as a distraction while she set her trap. Hidan pulled the wire with his foot, springing the trap. The 10 kunai flew out at him, and somehow they hit him. It wasn't done. The 30 senbon needles came next, and they would have caused him to be killed. Ouch, he shouted, that was painful. How is that? Rina muttered. You didn't notice? I'm a Jashinist. I'm immortal. Well, you're also stuck there, so I'm done here, she said as she slowly walked away. 3 years ago, Rina was followed by the Akatsuki for a year, and she decided she needed a change. She tried to summon a hawk, yet it obviously didn't work. Rina had summoned a girl. Well, I'm useless, Rina told herself. Not really. I'm Carrie, the third guardian angel of hell. What? Rina asked, confused. I can't explain too well. Still, I can help a bit. Seshu, I need a bit of help, as well as an explanation, Carrie told them. Two girls suddenly appeared, and Rina noticed what the three looked like. All of them had bright yellow eyes. Carrie had brown hair and wore tan and black animal skins. She carried a bow and exactly 20 arrows. The other two, Setu and Seshu, appeared to be twins. They both had lavender hair and wore purple, although one seemed more mature than the other. She finally knows what she can do, huh? Setu asked. Well, let me explain. I'm Setu, the first guardian of hell, and this is my sister, Seshu, the second guardian. Guardian? Rina asked. You've heard of guardian angels. Even angels need others to be their guardian angels, even the angel of hell. We defended you, your grandmother, when her soul was in hell. We supported her, and we're here to help you. Seshu explained. Actually, there are two more guardians, Carrie told Rina. Senbu, Ryu. I know you can hear me, shouted Setu. We're awake, said a boy who soon appeared. Actually, two boys appeared, although one was older than the other. Hey, she finally knows, said the one who replied a moment ago. I'm Senbu, and this is my little brother, Ryu. Senbu had green hair and wore green clothes to match. He and his brother had yellow eyes like the girls. Ryu had black hair and wore gray clothes. So, why did you try to summon a hawk, anyway? Carrie asked. I need to send this message to the Leaf Village. There are some people after me, and with Leaf Ninja around me, they wouldn't want to get much attention. Rina said sadly. Okay, I can deliver it. Carrie transformed into a hawk, and took the message. So, why did that happen? All of you are different, yet your names all mean something that's normally considered wrong. Of course, we are the guardian angels of hell. We're like sins. Carrie was a compulsive hunter. She killed every type of animal in existence, all but one. She couldn't find a blue-crested wildcat. Carrie set out to find one, and eventually, she did. So? Rina questioned in an annoyed tone. Of course, the blue-crested wildcats lived near large drops, and the one Carrie found happened to be at the top of a waterfall. She fell off the top and died. So you all did something like that? Sort of. Setu is the leader of the team, yet Seshu is only a spy. Still, they're twins, and both of their names mean theft. In fact, they used each other's identity for many things, always blaming each other. Seshu was too happy and bubbly, while Setu was the opposite. Eventually, both of them caused the other to get killed by Anbu. I can imagine living with that forever, Rina replied as she tried to think about what it'd be like. Actually, they try their best to get along now. What about you two? Well, Setu began. Senbu envied others, and always wished he had other things that were better than what he had. He was killed trying to steal something, too. Seshu started giggling at the thought of Senbu's death. Then there's my little brother, Senbu began. Ryu killed anyone in his way. What was his goal? Rina asked. Nothing. He just liked killing. Then he used a jutsu to defeat his greatest enemy, and it killed him too. Okay, well, either way, you need to go. People normally come around here near this time, and they don't need to see you. Remember, we're here to protect you, Seshu assured her, so call us anytime you need a hand. Or 5, Senbu said jokingly. The guardians left, and Rina went home. The next week, Carrie brought back a message. It said, we received your message, yet we're sorry to inform you that we could only send academy students and 2 Junin, considering everyone else is out on missions. They should arrive within the next few days. The next day, there were 6 young academy students running around the rock village. One of them walked up to Rina. She had long, pink hair and green eyes. Have you seen Rina Tiochi? She asked. Actually, yes. I am Rina Tiochi. Kakashi-sensei, I found her. The little girl shouted. You sent the letter requesting bodyguards? Asked a man with spiky white hair. Yes. Well, I guess I should introduce these kids. This is Sakura Haruno, he said, pointing to the pink-haired girl. This is Naruto Uzumaki. He pointed to a boy with blonde hair. And Sasuke Uchiha, he said, pointing to a boy with black hair, who seemed more than bored. Rina heard about that kid. His whole clan was killed by his brother, and he was set on revenge. Well, rival, looks like you found her first. But there's still more to do. said a man with a bowl cut and a green jumpsuit. "I'm Guy, and this is my amazing team," he shouted, pointing to 3 people behind him. "This is Rock Lee, my prodigy," he said, showing her a boy who looked just like Guy. "This is Tenten." He pointed to a young girl with brown hair, and Neji Hyuga. He pointed to a boy with long brown hair and light purple eyes. Rina had studied the Hyuga clan, as well as a few other clans, and their jutsus for a few years. That's how she came up with a few of her techniques. "Well, you know who I am. There's no reason to worry, because all I need you to do is protect me from the Akatsuki for about a week." "The Akatsuki? I wish we had higher-leveled team," said Kakashi. "It's nothing my kids can't handle," shouted Guy. "This is going to be a long week. Don't worry. They won't even try to touch me if you guys are around me. They don't want to make a scene." "You know," Kakashi wondered suspiciously, "I've heard your name before when I was in the Anbu. It's so familiar, yet I can't put my finger on it." "He knows. Just keep your cool, and he won't remember. You better be right, or it's the end of both of us." "I still remember that night, and he might piece this together, too." Rina remembered very well what happened years ago. When she was just 11, the Anbu from the Leaf Village was chasing her, like the rest of the world. Among the group, there was Kakashi Hitaki, as well as Itachi Uchiha. They were the first to find her, and they were the only ones to see her deep green eyes and her scared face. "Well, where will we be staying? It took a long time to get here, and we might need a bit of rest," Kakashi asked, bringing her back to reality. "Follow me. You'll be staying in my home. It has a few separate rooms, so you won't all have to crowd into one room." The 9 of them walked to the Tiochi house, which now normally housed 1. It was much cleaner than before, and the blood stains from the 4 dead people were gone. When they got there, Rina showed them around. "You 2 girls will be sleeping here," Rina explained as she led Tenten and Sakura into her sister's old room, which was now empty. She helped the girls lay out their sleeping bags and left to help the others. "You 4, she said while leading Naruto, Sasuke, Neji and Lee into the guest room, will be sleeping in here. The girls only had to fit 2 people in the room." "What about us?" Naruto complained. "They're girls," the rest of us responded. Rina helped them lay out their things, and tried to explain to Naruto why he should really shut up. The whole time she thought about Kakashi finding out who she was. "You will be sleeping in here." "Well," Kakashi said in an annoyed tone, "I guess that means both of us." "Do you want to listen to Naruto complain all night?" Rina waited for a response. "Didn't think so. You rest up. I need to go to bed as well." Still 3 years ago. For the next 3 days, the Akatsuki didn't interfere. Then, on the 4th day, Rina got a letter. She was required to attend a ceremony involving her father. He was one of the many people who died keeping Orochimaru out of the village many years ago, and she was going to accept the award on his behalf. Once the Kakashi and Guy found out, they wanted to come along. That afternoon, Rina was confronted by the Akatsuki again. Of course, she was met by Hidan. "You know, he will find out it's you," Hidan told her. "No, he won't. Kakashi doesn't remember. You don't have a place here. What are you planning to do?" "I don't know. Look," Hidan began. "Tomorrow Kakuzu and I will be watching the ceremony. You haven't been able to clear your name, and we need you to join us. At the ceremony, there will be a general named Gon Sho. He took out 10 of our spies and knows our location. We need you to kill him. Do that, and you will join us. You'll never have to see this wretched village again." Rina stood silent for a moment, thinking about his plan. "Looks like the Akatsuki are after you," said a voice. It was Kakashi. "I'm done here. You have no reason to attack." Kakashi still tried to capture him, but with no luck. The 2 walked back to Rina's home, and she told the others about the ceremony. "We really get to come?" Tenten asked happily. "I see no reason why not." The next day, Rina helped the others prepare for the ceremony. She allowed Tenten and Sakura to borrow some of her old kimonos. Sakura wore a bright red kimono with a red lily in her hair while Tenten wore a light orange, short-sleeved one with a bright orange bow around the waist. Kakashi, Guy and the others wore long gray shirts with black pants, jackets and shoes. "Aren't you going to get ready as well, Rina?" Guy brought up. "I was just about to, since you all are almost done." Rina went up to her room and put on a long, light blue kimono with long sleeves. She tied it with a blue bow and put her hair up in a ponytail. The 9 people all left for the awards ceremony, none of them noticing that Rina was wearing something under the kimono. After almost an hour, the last award was given. Rina Tiochi, please come forward. Rina's father was captured by Orochimaru after he defended the town. Tetsu Tiochi fought harder than any other man. He is given the most important award, and let it show that, in Rina's possession, his daughter will follow his path into helping the Rock Village, said General Gon Sho. Well, she told him, I guess I can't accept this award on my father's behalf. I won't follow his footsteps. What do you mean? He asked in a frightened voice. It was then that Rina untied the bow on her kimono, slowly sliding it off to reveal her black pants and a strapless shirt with fishnet under. She also had black arm warmers on her hands. She slid them off, showing a bracelet holding 5 senbon needles on each hand. This is the end for you, she whispered to him, only seconds before throwing the needles at vital chakra points in his body, killing him instantly. I'm ready to join you. Rina whispered, soon following the two men, Hidan and Kakuzu, far away from the village. I told you not to join them. You fly solo. That's right, I do fly solo. You know what that means, don't you? You're running away again, aren't you? I fly solo, so I don't need you telling me what to do. Rina ignored what her grandmother told her. She was tired of it. Of course, her grandmother kept on ranting, and eventually, she had one thing to say. Rina, if you don't leave them right now, I'm going to scare them away myself. Oh great, Rina said to herself. What? Kakuzu wondered. Be ready for me to lose control, she said, clenching her fist over her heart. What's wrong now? Hidan said. The original Hell's Angel is about to take control. Rina, what are you doing? Shouted a voice from behind them. It was Guy. Now I remember you now. The granddaughter of Hell's Angel supposedly died years ago, but it wasn't real. You're a master at any Earth-style jutsu, and you used an Earth clone as your body to fake your death. Still, you wanted the village to know you were a good person. You lured the Akatsuki right to us, didn't you? Kakashi finished. Without allowing Rina to answer, he began attacking the two men, and Guy joined. Hidan, Kakuzu, be careful, or I might kill you, she whispered to them. I think I know what you mean, but you don't need to worry about that, Hidan replied, knowing what she'd said only moments ago. Kakashi and Guy kept fighting, and Rina kept feeling like her insides were being torn out. She moaned in pain, and Kakashi and Guy finally noticed that she was almost lying down on the ground. After a moment, Rina's eyes turned yellow, and her hands slowly turned black. Soon, it spread all over her body. Her hair turned bright red, but then the most painful thing happened. 2 large, blood-red angel wings sprouted from her back, and she was no longer herself. Still 3 years ago, Rina was under her grandmother's control. Kakashi and Guy were staring wide-eyed, and their students had just arrived behind her. Seeing that no one was moving, her grandmother took that as an opening. She created a scythe, but it wasn't a regular scythe. It was made of wind, yet it still had a few pieces of metal, so it would be painful to get hit by. As mentioned before, Rina used taijutsu and earth-style techniques. Hell's Angel, being an angel, used wind. Whether it was Rina controlling herself or not, in the form of Hell's Angel, she had to use wind, even though it was impossible for her to use it alone. Kakashi, still in a daze, was hit by the scythe. Like most things that are wind, the scythe wasn't like one made of only metal. Kakashi was lifted in the air and hit several times by it. I'm sorry, but I'm not in control. But I did follow them because I wanted to. I have no place to go, and I have no reason to stay. Kakashi, are you okay? Guy asked. Guy, we should get out of here. It isn't worth it. The original Hell's Angel could kill all of us in moments. Come on, let's go, Kakashi commanded. Guy didn't fight him, so the 2 Junin and 6 Academy students left. There's only one way for me to regain control. Just try to dodge the attacks. I'll take care of the rest. Rina shouted urgently at Hidan and Kakuzu. While Rina's grandmother used her body to attack them, she tried as hard as she could to get her control. What are you doing? You said I had no place before, and this is somewhere I can be accepted. They're just going to use you. I'm trying to protect you. I can protect myself. I'm your granddaughter, aren't I? You can protect me if I truly need it. Apparently, she understood. Rina's wings instantly disappeared, causing her to fall to the ground. Her skin and hair went back to normal, and Rina was in control. So I guess that's done with. Are you ready to come along now? Hidan asked. I'm ready. Also, you don't need to worry about the angel anymore. I can control it. Are you sure? We don't need you randomly attacking people. Kakuzu tried to make sure she knew what to do. Don't worry, Rina assured him, I'm sure. My grandmother is just protecting me. Still, Rina knew her grandmother was only using her so her soul wouldn't be stuck in hell forever. Still 3 years ago. It took a few days, but the three finally got to S large cave. Kakuzu and Hidan sat down, and Hidan motioned for Rina to sit down, too. She looked around, and saw that, including Hidan and Kakuzu, there were 6 people around her. Suddenly, another figure appeared. It looked like a young woman, although she only appeared as a shadow. She sat down with the others, only to have another shadow appear. This time it was a man, and he remained standing. Rina Tiochi, he began, after so long, you've finally decided to join us. I've told them about your skills. I know all about your traps, weapons, and even the techniques you came up with by copying ideas of other clans. We could use you here, so we would like to welcome you. Thank you, she responded, but I guess I do have a bit of a reason to be here. Where else could I go, anyway? That is true, still, we aren't able to trust you yet. For now, you're only a spy. You will only be sent on missions that involve acquiring information. Yeah, Rina whispered, you could have just found anyone off the street to do that. Excuse me, he said in a raised voice, but we've lost countless spies while they tried to steal information. They got caught and weren't trained very well in combat. So why don't you just send someone else with them? Rina suggested. In the Akatsuki, we have teams of 2, and none of them have time to help a spy. That's why we need someone who can steal the information and take on a number of guards without getting killed. So you want me to do this? Of course I do. You stole the information on the Hyugas and Inazuka's jutsus without being seen, and you have many new techniques. Considering what you've been through, it should be an honor to be a spy for Akatsuki, and for us, it should be an honor to have you as a spy. I have a place. That's all I need. And you're lucky I didn't kill you for that whole, could have chosen anyone off of the street, comment. 2 years ago. So, there's another person from the rock village? Rina asked in an unenthusiastic voice. Yeah, he's some terrorist bomber for hire. How original, Kisame replied. Rina had known Kisame since she arrived with Hidan. She respected him and trained under him. Still, there was one thing she hated. Also, Leader Sama told us that you need to come along. Not only do you know the village better than us, but he's ready to trust you with this. Finally. I wonder what changed his mind. Well, you've come a long way, kid. I told you to stop calling me a kid. I could kill you if I wanted to. What a temper, said a monotone voice. Itachi had just come over, considering they were to leave in about half an hour. Uchiha, I don't care. I just hope no one recognizes me. After I killed that general guy a year ago, everyone's been after me. You're a master at the transformation jutsu. Just disguise yourself when you get there, Itachi reminded her. I guess. I'll get Sasori and we can leave. Hey, Kisame began. I thought you'd be a bit more excited. Not only do you get to go back to your old village, but you're finally being promoted. Now you are both a spy and a member, and officially, of course. So that means, she asked, starting to get annoyed. If you complete your next mission after this, you'll be an official member, or, at least as official as you can be. Leader said you'd help with capturing Jinchuriki and sealing the demon, as well as going with other teams on missions. Okay, I guess that's a lot different, Rina replied, thinking about all of that. Are you guys ready to go? Sasori asked. Rina grabbed her backpack and put it on over her cloak. She followed the others outside and they began their trip. After a few days, the 4 finally made it to the village entrance. Go on, aren't you going to disguise yourself so you don't get chased around? Kisame reminded her. I know, just give me a moment. Rina used the transformation jutsu. When she was done, no one could have recognized her. She had really short, dark blue hair and was wearing a short, light gray skirt and black pants and a black shirt. Also, she had a regular Rock Village headband around her arm, unlike the one she normally wore around her neck with a line through it. Wow, if anyone recognizes you, they'd be psychic. Kisame told her. Great, now let's go. Rina led them through the town, and then realized something. Where are we supposed to find this guy? She asked. Apparently he hangs out at some museum full of statues, Sasori told her. I know where that is. It was only a street down from. Rina couldn't finish her sentence, or else she'd begin crying. Rina just continued walking to the museum, even though she knew Kisame and Sasori were worrying about her. She and Sasori were as close as a brother and sister, except for the fact that Rina was 20 years younger. Both of them lost their parents, and they needed a place to go. They didn't mind each other. In fact, Sasori and Rina considered themselves close friends. Kisame was glad to teach Rina, and he admired her courage. Of course, Itachi didn't seem to care for her much. He thought she was ignorant and annoying. Even though she was only 2 years younger than him, he thought she was just immature with a temper. "We're here," Rina said, not looking back. They four walked in and Rina ended the jutsu. As she thought, the others complained about how long it might take and how they wished they could look out the door. They had to stay hidden, even if no one else was there. No one could risk being seen. "Here, I'll tell you about how long it'll be," Rina finally told them, getting tired of the complaining. Rina used her Jinzo Juki technique that she had used many times before. She'd also used it on the night her mother and sister were killed. She lost her sight in exchange for enhanced hearing and feeling. She could sense everything going on within a 100-meter radius. "He's about 30 meters away. He'll be in here soon." "How do you know that?" Itachi asked, forgetting that he had the Sharingan and could have known it himself. Rina didn't respond. She changed back to regular vision and prepared to meet the new member. "You know, this guy is less than a year younger than you right now. It makes me wonder about how many other teenagers are out killing people," Kisame said. The boy came in moments later. Of course, Itachi had to make a scene. He made the same deal Hidan did about fighting and joining. As Rina expected, the kid lost. 2 years ago. "Look," Rina said, "you guys explain how these things work. I need to do something." Without using the transformation jutsu, Rina stepped away from the museum and walked down the empty street in the light of the setting sun. She stopped in front of her old house. Rina opened the door and stepped inside. It hadn't changed at all because no one had been there since she left. Rina noticed something she hadn't before. She saw Aki's old katana. Rina picked it up, then took off her necklace and held it tight. She put the necklace back on and put the katana in her backpack. Rina knew this was all that was left of her past, and she couldn't stand to think of it. She went over to the bookshelf and grabbed a paper. It was the last Tiochi family portrait taken. She stuffed it into her backpack. Then, she grabbed the portrait taken when she was only an infant. Rina stood silent for a moment, and then knew she had to do it. Rina grabbed a candle and lit it. She held it to the paper, and it caught fire. Rina blew out the candle and dropped the burning portrait. She walked out of the house, leaving it to its fate. "That's why you came back, isn't it?" said a strange voice. It was the guy that was just forced to join. "I guess we haven't been properly introduced. I'm Deidara, the guy that's already made your life better. You, beautiful, are delighted to meet me." "Drop the act," she replied, looking back at her house which was now drowning in flames. "You just met me, and you're already pathetic. That really takes some skill, idiot." Rina began walking back to the others, and Deidara followed. "Wait a second," he said while they walked back. "You're that Hell's Angel girl who killed Gon Sho." "You're Rina Tiochi?" "Yeah, I'm surprised. I wouldn't expect Hell's Angel to be so." "You're just one of those guys who hits on every girl they see," she interrupted, "so don't expect a reaction that'll satisfy you." His eyes went wide at that comment, but he didn't seem annoyed. When they got to the others, they were a bit confused. "You did that?" Sasori asked, pointing to her house. "I had to. It killed me to think of my past, and that house was a huge part of it." They went back to the cave and made it back in only 2 days. After Deidara was assigned to train under Sasori, Rina got her next mission that would give her all of the perks Kisame mentioned. Still, it was so easy that Rina didn't have to get up, thanks to her past. "Rina," the leader started to tell her, "for your next mission, you'll have to retrieve something. You've heard of Orochimaru, right?" Rina's heart nearly stopped at the mention of Orochimaru. He captured, tortured and killed her father. He used to be a member here. You need to find his Akatsuki ring. If you can bring it back, you have a higher position. "So that's what this is," Rina said, grabbing something from her weapon pouch. "How did you get that?" he questioned. "After my father was captured by Orochimaru and the village was soon saved, I had to help collect the dead bodies. I found this ring on the ground. I didn't know what it was, but I kept it," she explained, holding the ring. "Well, I guess your mission is complete. That was easier for you than I expected. So, what do I do now?" she asked. "Well," leader told her, "I guess you can go with Sasori and help him train that kid." Well, that's a start, she thought. Rina found Deidara and Sasori outside the cave arguing. Well, I see you two are getting along, she said sarcastically. I guess that mission must not have been hard, Sasori told her. Normally it would have been harder, but of course, my past seems to be a bit helpful. Sasori noticed the ring on her finger, and automatically knew what her mission was. You help this kid. I can't stand him. Well, that makes two of us, but I'll take him off your hands. Sasori left, and Rina knew she'd regret her choice to help Deidara. Still, she had no reason not to. So, let's get started. First of all, what can you do anyway? Rina asked. I'm an artist. You see, he began. I make wonderful sculptures, and, like most art, they don't last long. He created a small bird and, to her surprise, it exploded. No wonder Sasori hated you. Well, are you going to teach me anything? Deidara asked. Why else would I be here? Well, don't answer that. Look, this'll at least be a bit easier on me because I can tell your element is earth, and that's mine as well. I studied numerous other clans with information I stole before I joined Akatsuki. One thing I created after studying the Inuzuka is the stone drill. What? You've seen the Inuzuka use fang over fang, right? Well, my technique is similar. There are still a few differences. I use an earth clone instead of a dog. The drill created in as hard as stone, hence the name, and if it doesn't hit the target, it opens for another attack. Well, would a clone made of clay work? Deidara asked. Probably. I never thought about that. After about half an hour of explaining, Deidara finally got the idea. Well, how about I demonstrate? Rina asked. Okay, but I doubt it'd help if you used it against me. Probably not. Still, I have an idea. Rina went inside the cave for a moment, where Itachi and Kisame were preparing for their next mission. When Rina came back out, Itachi was following. Stand right there and whatever happens, don't move. As long as this doesn't take more than a few minutes. Ready for the demonstration? Rina asked Deidara. I'm ready. Deidara smiled. Demonstration? Itachi asked, a little freaked out. Just stay there. Fine, Itachi responded. Earth style. Stone drill. Rina shouted as she created an earth clone and hopped high into the air, spinning into a drill with the clone. Oh great, not this again. Itachi yelled, trying to avoid the attack. Of course, it didn't work and he was hit. Itachi had been hit once before by the stone drill, and it was for the same reason Rina used it on his now. Again, I always get revenge on annoying people. Rina and Deidara both laughed as Itachi picked himself up and went to get his stuff. Well, you better not think I'm more pathetic than him, Deidara commented when Itachi was gone. Don't worry, it's not possible to be more pathetic than an Uchiha. Also, about yesterday, Deidara started, I'm sorry I acted like that, but I haven't seen anyone like you since I was 13. And by that you mean? You're from the same village as me. You know how there aren't any girls there that could take a hit. Also, most of them are idiots to start with. Well, not all of them. On the south side, Rina began, tearing up a bit at the thought of her cousins. It was silent for a moment, and then Rina interrupted the silence. So, how about you try that jutsu, she said. Okay, Deidara replied, wondering about what she was going to say. Try to hit me with it. What happens if I do hit you? You won't, trust me. Deidara created a clone out of clay and prepared, still not sure about using the technique on Rina. Earth style. Deidara shouted, stone drill. Deidara did the technique correctly, as expected. Right before he hit Rina, she jumped backwards, avoiding him altogether. That's why you weren't worried, Deidara said. Yeah, I've seen a few people dodge my stone drill, so it's easy to figure out how. By then, it was sunset. The two went back into the cave and got ready for bed. 6 months ago, Rina awoke an hour earlier than usual. It was always a sign for her. Every day that she would be assigned a new mission, she woke up an hour before she usually does. Rina walked through the hotel in the Mist Village where she was staying, still there from her last mission. Deidara and Sasori, who were close friends of her now, were also staying there. This was mainly because the information she had to gather before was for their mission. Rina continued down the stairs and left. She walked about a mile to the hotel to the top of a moderately high waterfall. You always know, said the leader, who appeared as a ghost in front of her. I wonder how you can always tell I have a mission for you. Well, I don't know. I have an idea why, yet I'm not sure, Rina responded as she stared down to the bottom of the waterfall. She was extremely afraid of heights. I need you to gather some information from the Leaf Village. Many of their ninjas are out of the village, and they're nearly defenseless. So what would you like me to find out? I need to know about the Hokage's death, as well as whom the next Hokage may be. That'll be simple, Rina assured. Also, he finished, you need to find out about the Jinchuriki and the Leaf Village. I've actually met him once before. It's not hard to gain his trust. Most importantly, you need to get a file about the 3 Sannin of the Leaf. Rina went back to the hotel and gathered her belongings, including her sister's katana. She ate a small breakfast and started walking. Before she left, Sasori caught up with her. You seem to get a lot of missions. Where are you headed this time? He asked. I need to get to the Leaf Village. It's not too hard to get into. Well, good luck. Also, I heard Itachi and Kisame were going to go there on a mission soon. Well, I'm going to be there for 2 weeks. Why? Deidara asked as he arrived at the bottom of the stairs. It takes a while to get to the Leaf, and the files I'm after are kind of hard to get to. Also, I need to learn about the Jinchuriki. According to Leader, Itachi and Kisame should be there by the time I'm finished. Why do Itachi and Kisame need to be there? Deidara asked. It's the 9 tails. I can't capture it alone, even if it is in a 12-year-old. I should really go. Everyone said their goodbyes and Rina started her mission. First, she had to send a fake note. She summoned Carrie and began telling her the plan. Carrie, I need you to be a messenger hawk. As usual, you haven't needed us in a fight. But I do believe that's a good thing, since you've grown strong enough to fend for yourself. Anyway, why do you need me to deliver something? I need you to look like a messenger hawk from the north side of the Rock Village. I have to send a fake letter to the Leaf Village. Carrie transformed into a hawk, looking exactly like a messenger hawk from the north side. After writing the obvious, Rina's note read, it is rumored that the Akatsuki is going to attack the Leaf Village while you're vulnerable. We're going to send one of our Junin to protect the village. We will assign her to the Leaf for 2 weeks, considering most of your ninja would be in better condition as soon as that. What do you mean, in better condition? The Chunin exams recently took place, and I heard most of the people are in no condition to fight after some attack that took place during them. Also, when I was tutored as a child, I was tested by the teachers at the academy. They said I'd probably make Junin by age 16. I'll be fine. Carrie left to deliver the letter and Rina kept walking. She knew it would take about 4 days to get to the Leaf, considering the Mist Village was on an island that was far from the mainland. That night she stopped near the water. Once she woke up, she would go across to the mainland, which would take all day. Past that, it would take 2 days to get to the center of the Fire Country into the Leaf Village. Still 6 months ago, when Rina was close to the Leaf Village, she used her transformation jutsu. If anyone in the village recognized her, they'd have to have a Kekkei Genkai more powerful than Sharingan. She looked so different. Rina changed her appearance in almost every way. She had long, dark red hair with a black headband in her hair. She wore a dark blue, sleeveless shirt and a skirt that covered her right leg with black leggings under. Rina had moderately tall, black boots and fishnet gloves. The only thing she couldn't change was her jade green eyes. As Rina walked into the village, she was greeted by 2 men in what looked almost like a small shed. So, you're the Junin from the Rock Village? One of them asked. Yes. Obviously you got the letter. Of course, the other one said. You look a bit young for a Junin. How old are you? I'm 16, though I'll be 17 in a few months. How did you become a Junin? I know the Rock Village is desperate for them, especially in the north side because of all people who can't take a hit. But still, 16 is a bit young. I was tutored, and most of my clan lives in the south side, which is where I was born. I moved to the north side after a while. The teachers at the academy told me I'd become a Junin at around this age. I haven't met a Junin your age in a long time. Either way, it's a good thing you're here. Our Chunin are out on missions, and most of our genin won't even be able to get up for at least a month. If Akatsuki does attack, they have good timing. I heard about the Hokage's death, but I never did hear who killed him. Orochimaru. He destroyed the village and killed the Hokage. He's the reason all of this happened. Tell me about it, Rina mumbled. Rina went around town to see everything, and she saw a familiar face. She saw Tenten, who'd come to the Rock Village when she requested help. Of course, Tenten didn't notice, since Rina looked different than before. So, you're the Junin here to protect the village, said a voice Rina hadn't heard before. Yes, I am. Well, he said as Rina turned around. Normally I don't encourage getting help from other villages, but I guess there can be an exception after all of this happening. Well, I have heard that Akatsuki is planning an attack sometime in the next month, so I'd expect you to need as much help as you can get, although I'm only staying for 10 days, considering the other 4 were counted in traveling here. Well, that should be about all we need. Anyway, I'm sure you've heard of the Sanin of the Leaf Village. I'm Jiraiya, he said, waiting for an answer. Well, you have a name, don't you? Oh, right. Rina had to think of a name. Itsu, she said, remembering her cousin from the south side, Itsumono. Well, I'm glad we met. You'll be here a little while, and I'll be out on a mission soon. The note did say you're one of the best Junin in the Rock Village, so I guess you're someone I can trust. Good. You won't be regretful, she lied. Idiot. These guys trust people way too easily. Of course, Rina never trusted anyone. She knew they'd turn on you. How did she know that? Look at the situation she's in now. Everyone trusts her, yet she'd be the cause for their death if she could. Right now, she'd only think of the mission and staying in disguise. Still, Rina was surprised. Even the Sanin didn't recognize her in any way. These people were easy to fool. Rina was still nervous about Kakashi, knowing that he could possibly recognize her. As mentioned before, she couldn't change her eyes, and they were still the jade green they were before. He may be able to recognize her, but she wasn't too scared. Rina went around the village for a few hours, considering she had gotten there a bit after noon. She thought it logical to go ahead and find an inn about an hour before sunset, and then find someplace to eat dinner. While she walked out of the restaurant where she'd eaten dinner, she saw some familiar faces. At the entrance of the inn where Rina was staying, she saw Naruto and Sakura. They looked much different than before, yet she could still recognize them. Both were bandaged and looked horrible. Obviously it was from the Chunin exams. Rina felt sorry for them, and knew they would look much worse if they got in the way of her mission. She wouldn't want that to happen, but she'd have to. Rina went inside, discarding the thought of hurting anyone. She couldn't think about that. She hated the thought of hurting anyone who hadn't done anything wrong, like what happened to her mother and sister. Rina would never turn into a monster like her grandmother. Still 6 months ago. The next day, Rina started her mission, gathering information. As she began walking through the village, she saw the building where the file she needed would be, the Hokage's office. She casually walked over to the building and inside the doors. Rina stopped using her transformation jutsu and started moving in the shadows. Not many people were in the building, but she still had to be careful. The building was huge, and Rina didn't know her way around. She started using a technique she hadn't used in a long time, Jinzo Juki. When she was using Jinzo Juki, Rina knew everything around her. She knew where every room was and she could see the location of the file. Well, she couldn't see it. Rina could sense what was around her, yet if it were a person, she'd be unable to tell who it was or what they looked like. There were 3 people in the room where she needed to be. Obviously, she didn't want to draw any attention, so she would keep moving. Rina was unable to use Genjutsu. The transformation jutsu she uses isn't Genjutsu, so it wouldn't be easy to get in. At that moment, she got an idea. Rina summoned Setu and Sesshu. It's been a while. So far you've only needed Carrie to deliver messages, Setu said. I need to get into a room a few floors up, and there are 3 people in there who will keep me from what I have to get. I need to get in, steal the file, and get out without getting noticed. Do you have any ideas? Well, Sesshu knows a jutsu that can knock out anyone within a 20-foot radius of her for about 5 minutes, Setu told her. You can? Do you think you could use that? Definitely. It isn't very hard, Sesshu assured her. It may not seem like it, but she can do a lot of things that you and I can't, Rina. Sesshu is a genjutsu master. Rina and Sesshu walked up the stairs until they were on the 3rd floor. Once they found the room they were looking for, Sesshu was really excited. She was finally chosen over her sister for something. The 2 stood about a foot from the doorway, and Sesshu casually walked into the center of the large room. Her technique covered just enough area to knock out all 3 people. Hey, one of them shouted, you aren't allowed in here. At that moment, Sesshu used her technique. All 3 people fell to the ground, and Rina walked in. Thanks, Sesshu. You really are worth having around. Why else would Setu, Senbu, Carrie and Ryu let me stay with them? Sesshu left and Rina got to work. She was still using Jinzo Juki, so she could tell where the file was. It didn't take long to find it, and she had to hurry. Rina found the file she was looking for, and once she did, the three others began waking up. She ran the second she noticed, and made it out safely. Later that day, the whole village was talking about how the important file had been stolen, although those in the office had only seen Seshu. They believed she'd taken the file. Luckily, whenever Seshu was in the village, she was only there for brief moments. As Rina walked back to the inn, she had to make sure no one saw that she had the file. Once she was back in her room, she remembered something. She remembered Itame and Kure. They'd moved to the Leaf Village years ago. Kure would be 11, if she were alive. I wonder what happened to them. I bet I could find them somewhere around here. I should just ask around to see if I could find Itame Hito and her daughter. Once the file was hidden, Rina left the inn to find her two friends that she hadn't seen in so long. Rina walked around town until she found the marketplace. She went into the bakery, where Itame and Kure would be if they had the same job. She saw several employees there that she could not recognize. "Excuse me," she said to a woman who worked at the bakery, "does Itame Hito work here?" "Yes, she does," the woman responded. "Itame is just back there." She pointed to the counter. "Itame," Rina said, walking quickly over to the counter. "Excuse me, but I don't believe we've met," she responded. Rina was using her transformation jutsu. "Yes, we have actually," Rina said, remembering that Itame knew nothing of her past deeds. "I am Rina Tiochi." "Rina, I didn't think I'd see you again. Why are you using a transformation jutsu?" "My mission." "Don't worry. It's wonderful to see you again. Is Kure at the academy?" "No," Itame said, tears coming down her cheeks. "Earlier this month, when the Sound Village attacked, she was killed. I'd expect whoever took her life lost theirs as well. Most of the Sound Ninja were killed. Not him, she was killed by Orochimaru. Orochimaru has been the cause for a lot of grief. He captured my father the day before I was born. He was tortured for months, and then killed. Kure, she tried to help the third Hokage fight him, and she knew she would be unable to survive. She did it to honor herself. Everyone else at the academy thought she was useless because she came from the north side of the rock. Kure always knew she'd show them. I never thought she meant it like that." Afterwards, the Hokage sealed Orochimaru's arms, and he knew the jutsu would end his life. "Don't worry. Kure is safe from anything, and so is the third." The two stood silent for a moment, and Rina said goodbye. She already had an idea. She could communicate with her grandmother, who'd been dead for decades. Maybe, just maybe, she could talk to any dead person. "Grandmother, I need to know something." "What is it, Rina?" "I can communicate with you." "Can I communicate with anyone else who has died?" "Well, there are conditions for that. I give you the ability to talk to the dead. Because of that, no matter how long I'm dead, I can talk to you. With others, you can only talk to them up to a year after their death. Still, you can't talk to Kure. Of course, that poor soul only died a week ago. You need to know what they looked like when they died. You need to picture them in your mind to talk to them. You haven't seen Kure since you were 14. You have no clue what she looked like before she passed. Could I talk to?" Rina stopped, realizing the answer. "No, you can't. Aki and Kichi were killed years ago, and you know that." Rina frowned a bit and continued walking forward. She arrived at the hotel and began thinking of her mission. She'd found the file on the 3 Sannin, which was the hardest task, and the Hokage's death. She just needed to learn about the Jinchuriki and the next Hokage. Rina then realized that she'd forgotten about the mission until then. She hadn't thought about anything other than missions for a while now. Still, she had time to spare. Rina had finished 2 of her 4 tasks in one day, so she could take a break for a day or 2, possibly. She knew how to find out about the Jinchuriki, yet she had no clue how she would find out about the next Hokage. The next morning, Rina started her plan. Naruto sat in the ramen shop, eating what he called breakfast. When he was close to finishing, Rina walked up and stood outside the shop. Once he finished, Naruto realized he had no money. Well, he started explaining to the man, I don't really, have the money." Naruto stammered. "I'll cover it for you," she said as she walked in. "Really?" Naruto asked happily. "Sure," Rina said, handing the man the money Naruto owed. She walked out, and Naruto soon followed. "Hey!" Naruto shouted when he caught up, "Thanks. I would have been in huge trouble back there if it weren't for you." "Well, okay then. I'm Naruto Uzumaki." "Wait a second," he finally noticed. "You're from the Rock Village?" "Yes. I'm Itsu Gansaku. I'm the Junin from the northern rock village that was sent here. I heard the Akatsuki may attack sometime soon, while you guys are still vulnerable. I'm here to keep the village safe. He's still pathetic. What an easy target. You must be pretty good. I heard you were only 16. I'm almost 17, but yes. I've been a taijutsu master since I was 11 and I can create my own jutsus easily. Maybe you can help me with taijutsu while you're here. Sure, Rina said, we could even do it now, if you'd like. Okay, the guy training me now is an idiot, Naruto told her, referring to Jiraiya. The two went to the training area, and Rina began paying close attention to every move he made. Okay now, try to hit me, she told him. Are you sure about that? Just do it. I won't do anything to fight back. Use anything you want, and try your best. Naruto created 2 shadow clones, and all 3 figures tried to hit her. She jumped up, and he followed. He took a few swings before she moved again. The cycle continued until Naruto was tired out. Lesson 1. You must be agile. Also, remember to anticipate your opponent's move, and be ready if they dodge. Most taijutsu involves strength, but speed is very important. Now, let's do the opposite. Naruto understood, and Rina automatically began attacking. He dodged the first few attacks, but she hit him quickly. The rest of the day, Rina observed how he fought and how he dodged. By sunset, when Naruto was finally tired, she actually knew enough about him to say that task was done. Rina knew about the 9 tails already. She'd read secret files about the Jinchuriki, so she knew a lot about the Kyuubi's past and how it attacked, and was sealed, 12 years ago. Rina possibly knew more than Naruto about the danger inside of him. Before Rina left to go back to the inn, she told Naruto one thing. I've only got 8 more days here. I won't be able to train you much more, or even at all if there's an attack. She went home, and began writing. She wrote down everything she'd learned about Naruto. It took up 3 pages, front and back. Then, she wrote 1 page about the Hokage's death and what she'd learned of that. There was only one thing left. Rina had to find out about the next Hokage, or who it may be. 5 months ago. Itsu. Naruto yelled, running up to Rina the next day. Well, you seem to have a lot of energy. Come with me. I want you to meet someone. Okay, she responded. Oh, crap, I forgot, Kakashi is his teacher. Rina followed him to the front of the training ground, where his teammates, Sakura and Sasuke, sat. Kakashi was nowhere in sight. He's late again? Naruto asked. When isn't he late? Sakura replied. Who's that? I've never seen you before. I'm Itsu Gansaku. I'm from the north side of the rock village, and I was sent because we've heard the Akatsuki might attack sometime soon. Also, before you ask, yes, I am young for a Junin. It's nice to meet you, but why did Naruto? Yesterday she helped me train, Naruto told her. He finally realized taijutsu isn't just about strength. Well, you may have taught him patience, said a voice behind her. Kakashi had finally arrived, but this time he had no excuse. So, he began. You were able to teach Naruto about taijutsu? Yes. Demonstrations seemed to help him learn quicker. Well, why don't you show me your demonstration? The 5 of them went into the training area. You, Rina said, pointing at Sakura, try to hit me. Use any technique that is strictly taijutsu. I won't fight back, but you still need to try as hard as you can. Sakura ran at her, and she jumped out of the way. Keep trying, Naruto shouted, having already gone through the training. Sakura listened. It took twice as much time for her to give up as it did Naruto. Don't worry, Sakura. You did better than Naruto. Remember, you must think before you run into battle. Be agile and anticipate your opponent's move, she said for the 2nd time. Also, strength is important in taijutsu, but without speed, there's not much you can do. Rina finished her demonstration the same way she did the day before. Well, that's surprising. I did know what you told them, yet I never really thought about saying that. I really should go, Rina told Kakashi. I need to go to a meeting. Rina left in a hurry, determined to get as far away from Kakashi as possible. She didn't know if he bought her excuse, but it was a huge risk for her to talk to him. In fact, he looked pretty suspicious when they met. 2 days later, Rina hurried around the village, desperate to find out what she needed. She only had 5 more days. Then, she noticed Jiraiya. He was buying supplies. So, you're on another mission? Rina asked. Yeah, and this time I have to take some kid so I can teach him some new techniques. What is the mission, anyway? She inquired. Rina was actually very curious about his missions, considering he seemed to be someone sent out a lot, like her. I have to find one of the other Sannin, Tsunade. The elders decided she would be a good 5th Hokage. That was easy. Well, I can't tell you how many places you'll have to go to find her. Rina had heard that Tsunade doesn't normally stay in the same place for too long because of her gambling problem. I should really get ready. I'm leaving in a few days, and last time I saw Tsunade, I nearly died. Jiraiya went on his way to get more supplies, and Rina decided to go back to the inn to finish the report. As she walked along, Rina was stopped in her tracks. I knew it was you. I just didn't want my students to do anything drastic, said a familiar voice from behind her. It was Kakashi. I knew there was a huge risk coming here. I would have been surprised if you hadn't recognized me, Rina said as Kakashi tied her wrists, though she hadn't noticed. You don't think I'd forget, do you? It would have been more believable if you said you were from the south side. Also, I would definitely know that those jade green eyes can only be seen on a Tiochi, and there aren't any in the north. Once Naruto told me you were from the north side, I was sure you were a fake, not that the eyes weren't enough. Well, some risks seem worth taking when they really aren't, you know? Hey, watch it, Rina shouted as 2 men pushed her into the cell. She'd been captured and put in a jail cell. Her cloak had been taken off, and she was just in her black strapless shirt with fishnet, her black capris, and her black arm warmers. She was going to be stuck there until further notice. A few days passed, she didn't care to count them, and someone had finally come. Rina couldn't tell who was coming, but she could tell he was carrying her cloak. She hadn't known who it was until he got to the cell. She slid off her arm warmers, revealing her 5 senbon needles. Let me out of here, she said firmly, ready to attack. Then, she saw who it was. I don't think you're much of a threat in this state, he said. I never thought I'd be glad to see you, Itachi. Normally you'd be earlier than us at the west entrance, so I knew I'd find you here, Itachi said as he opened the cell and handed Rina her cloak. Thanks, she said as she slid her arm warmers and cloak back on. Without anyone noticing, the two crept back to the entrance and met up with Kisame. Well, I didn't expect you to get caught. Still, it's good to see you, Kisame said when they arrived. Kakashi Hitaki realized who I was. If he wasn't here, I'd be fine. Then it's a good thing I was there, isn't it? Kakashi said. He'd followed them, and Asuma and Kurenai came as well. Rina, go back to the inn and get your things. We'll handle them, Itachi told her. Rina didn't protest. She hurried to the inn as fast as possible, drawing a bit of attention. Kurenai, Kakashi told her, follow her. Be careful, she was able to kill General Gon Sho of the Rock Village when she was only 15, so she should have no trouble killing any of us now. Rina gathered up her things, with her report and the file in her backpack. When she came to the front of the inn, Kurenai was only yards away. The young Akatsuki member jumped onto the building. She ran along the roofs of the buildings, with Kurenai following on the ground. Once she made it back, a fight had broken out. Well, I guess it's time to try my new jutsu, Rina yelled to Kurenai as she jumped down. Earth style. Manipulation. Her new jutsu took months of practice, and she hadn't used it in battle before. Rina could manipulate earth, rock or soil with her movement. It took a lot of chakra and only lasted around 5 minutes. When Rina hit the ground, Kurenai stepped back just in time. A large block of the ground shot upward, and, because she stepped back enough, Kurenai's leg was horribly cut. Rina decided to use her technique as defense for the rest of its time, since she didn't want to do anything that was too bad. Rina knew that Kurenai was a genjutsu master, but she wasn't using any on her. After avoiding and blocking numerous attacks, the technique ended. Rina, Kisame shouted. She knew he was telling her they needed to leave. Rina also knew that they couldn't leave without being followed. She used her stone drill technique, which left a cloud of dust after it nearly hit Kurenai. She used that to escape. So, did you get all of the information you needed? Kisame asked her once they were far away from the village. Yes, I do need to write down a bit of it, thought. At sunset, the three stopped and set up camp. Rina sat alone in her tent and began writing half a page about the next Hokage. The next day, Kisame and Itachi would head to the next village and Rina would head to the village hidden in the rain to deliver the report. The next morning, the three woke up and left in moments. Rina had to move quickly, or she wouldn't make it in time. Luckily, there really wasn't anything bad that happened to her. Still, she never would know what she saw in the rain village. When Rina entered, she was met by a swarm of white butterflies. When they noticed Rina and the file she was holding, one of them swooped down and pulled it from her grasp. Only then did she realize it was a paper butterfly. "What is this?" she asked herself, too mesmerized to realize what was happening. Rina had never seen something so strange, yet so beautiful. Rina stayed at an inn in the village, where she noticed most of the people didn't seem so friendly. Later that evening, the leader appeared again, looking the same as usual. "So, you were able to get the file and the other information. Wonderful," he said. "Well, I don't have another mission for you." "Do you think," she started. "What's wrong?" Leader asked. "I was thinking about visiting my family in the southern rock village." "Why?" he questioned. "What business would you have there?" "In the south side, my family was known for their skills in combat. They trained me in their special fighting style when I was only 5, and I'd like to advance a bit further with my training." "How long would you be there?" "I'll only stay for 2 or 3 weeks, and no one down there knows who I am besides my 2 aunts and uncles, and well as my 5 cousins." "Well, I suppose that'd be fine. I'll give you 3 weeks. When that time is up, or if I need you for a mission while you're there, I'll send someone to get you. I'd advise you to leave tomorrow." Rina agreed, and the leader left. It'd take her a day and a half to get to the rock village. It took Rina a few hours to fall asleep because, not only was she a bit of an insomniac, but she was anxious to see her family. She hadn't seen her cousins Itsumono, Ikusa, Kensai, Raishu and Tetsuda. But she also wondered what her aunts, Kaseki and Itoshi would think of her, and if her uncles, Shukufu and Kodao, would allow her to train under them. Rina knew that her questions would be answered very soon. Rina arrived in the south side of the rock village, wearing her black pants and a light blue shirt, covered in a long dark blue jacket. Her hair was tied back as usual. She made her way to the Tiochi household in the south side. Just as it came into view, Rina heard movement close behind her. "It's been a while, hasn't it, Rina?" said a voice. "Well, cousins have to see each other sometime, don't they?" she replied. Rina turned around to see her youngest cousin, Itsumono, son of Kaseki and Kodao Tiochi. He was about 10, and already knew how to fight better than Aki had. "You want to train, don't you? Mother and father wondered when you'd come back. They'll be happy to see you," he said, delighted. Rina followed Itsumono into the house, where they soon found the boy's mother. "Rina, it's great to see you. Aren't you turning 17 next week?" her aunt Kaseki asked her. "Yes, I am. I had some free time, and decided I'd like to train under the best fighters." "Well, you have good timing. Ikusa recently created a technique that's possibly the greatest we've come up with in a while. She's outside in the training area, if you'd like her to teach you. Still, you can't train in that. Your mother's old uniform should fit you. It's in the guest room." Rina put her things in the guest room and changed into her uniform. The uniforms were simple and good for fighting, and that's why it was preferred that those training wear it. The uniform was a short, dark brown skirt cut in the sides with lighter brown, loose pants. It had a sleeveless, light brown shirt as well. When training, they wore uniforms because the Tiochi used to be a training academy for military troops, mainly women. Once most of the troops were killed by Orochimaru, the academy was shut down. When she got outside, Rina asked her cousin Ikusa about the new technique. "My new jutsu will give you more power and chakra, though it only allows you to use earth and nature jutsus. It lets you absorb energy and life from around you, from plants, animals and even people. Isn't that a bit dangerous?" Rina asked her cousin, who recently turned 15. "Yes, it is an extreme technique, and should only be used when you truly need it. Follow me, and I'll show you the smallest effect of it." The two walked through the training forest. The Tiochi had owned at least half of it, since it was given to them because of the training academy, and they still owned it when the academy was closed. As they got further and further, Rina noticed an area where there was no life. The trees were dead and the grass was brown. She presumed that was where Ikusa practiced her technique. The smallest part of this technique is nowhere near as dangerous as the full one. This part only allows you to absorb life and turn it into chakra. Still, that chakra you gain can only be used for earth and nature jutsus, which Raishu will probably teach you. She showed Rina the hand signs and stood perfectly still. Ikusa looked a bit different, in fact, she looked like she was glowing a faint green. When she was finished, she was still glowing. As she absorbed the life, the grass and trees around her slowly died. Rina was just far enough away, so she wasn't affected. Not only can you gain life, Ikusa said, but you can also give it to someone or something around you, she said, dispersing it and returning it to the plants around her. As she did so, Rina could see small, glowing green particles flying to them. Seconds before she finished returning the life, Rina stuck out her hand in the path of particles. Her hand absorbed one, and glowed slightly for only a few seconds. Doesn't it feel invigorating? Ikusa asked, feeling nature. It's wonderful. You know, Rina responded, it is. You try it. Don't concentrate too hard, or else it'll go to the second stage. She warned. Rina did the same as Ikusa had, absorbing life and then giving it back. As they walked back to the house, a conversation started. So, Rina wondered, what is the second stage, anyway? The second stage absorbs life as both chakra and health. The other difference, though, is that it allows you to take the life of animals. The third stage, however, she paused, will also take the chakra and health from someone else's jutsu. Or even another person. So you're saying this jutsu could pull the life right out of someone? Rina asked, surprised. Not necessarily. It's unable to kill someone else, although it can weaken them so badly that they're unable to move. Also, Ikusa paused, you still need to learn the cost of using the jutsu. Well, I can expect a side effect from a jutsu like this. It doesn't seem like it, but this is actually a powerful technique. If you use this jutsu to the first stage, there's no side effect. At the second stage, you'll get a massive headache and your body will ache for around a week. If you use the third stage, you'll be paralyzed the next day or so. The paralysis could last for up to a month, and in some cases, it can be permanent. Wait, how do you know this? I studied life and nature for a while. Also, someone saw me training and tried it for himself. That idiot had no clue what he was doing, so I was able to find the side effects. The two returned to the house, where Raishu was waiting. There you are. I hope you aren't tired yet, Rina. I have a few jutsus to teach you, he said. Don't worry. I don't think I should practice any part of Ikusa's technique before I really need it. Well, Ikusa said, I'm done for now. Have fun training. Raishu was 19, and he was the oldest of Rina's cousins. He was the first son of Kaseki and Kodao. As the oldest, Raishu had the most experience in fighting and normally came up with the most techniques. As the two walked back into the forest, Raishu explained a few of his new techniques. First, there's the nature shield. You can manipulate plants around you to protect you from enemies. It can even surround you with a shield of pure life that the plants radiate. If anyone else is inside it, they are unable to use chakra. Then, there's the poison ivy gas technique. It allows you to release a poison gas around your enemy. As long as you use the medicine I created, the poison won't affect you. Also, we're here, you can stop explaining, Rina finally interrupted. Raishu taught Rina the techniques that he'd mentioned moments ago. Once Rina was finished practicing, Itsumono came and got them for dinner. You've accomplished a lot in a few years. I'm surprised. She stopped, realizing what she almost said. No one asked what she was going to say. They continued eating and went to bed. Rina knew she'd need some sleep. She needed to practice the techniques, and she still wanted to see what she could learn from her other cousins, Kensai and Tetsuda. 4 months ago, Rina woke up before anyone else, except Kaseki. She always woke up early, just like Rina. After the two sat down at the table for breakfast, Kaseki told Rina something that, at first, was frightening. Rina, she said, I know you're keeping a secret. You joined the Akatsuki. What are you talking about? Rina asked, trying to get the idea out of her aunt's mind. I know you joined, Rina. I've heard about you in the Leaf Village, and how you recently fought a few Junin there. I'm sorry. It was all I could do. No one believed a word I said, and no one allowed me to say what really happened. Don't worry, Kaseki told her, you had to join them. Anyway, I did something in my past that I'm not too happy about either. What do you mean? When I was just 15, and my mother and father were in charge of the school, Orochimaru attacked. He considered our school a threat because we'd trained some of the best fighters there are. Orochimaru also knew that we couldn't bear to lose anyone. So at one point, he attacked us directly. He threatened to take one of my sisters, and as the oldest, I couldn't allow him to take them. Itoshi was only 5, and your mother was only 12. They never would have been able to live under Orochimaru's harsh conditions. So, you told him to take you instead? Rina asked. Yes, and he did. I was forced to work for him as a servant, fighter, and, much worse. Still, how is that the same? I killed so many innocent people in his name. I had no choice. Still, I eventually managed to escape after 3 long years. In that time, my mother died. Only a year later, my father died. I had to raise Emi and Itoshi after that. That is kind of similar. Still, what you did for your family. What I've done for myself. Who can you do anything for? You're alone. You've tried your best to be what you wanted, but it wasn't what was meant for you. The two said nothing. They ate their breakfast and Rina went to see her other cousins. My goodness, Rina, you're looking more like your mother every day. You've grown a lot since I've seen you. And Itoshi, I haven't seen you in years. If you'd like to learn a few new techniques, Tetsuda is outside. Rina walked outside to find her cousin, Tetsuda, who was only 12. Before you start training, you must find a peaceful place in your mind. Become unaware of your surroundings, Tetsuda told her. Once you've done that, focus all of your energy on your hands. Then, open your eyes. My hands are glowing, Rina noticed. Now, that energy can be used to heal others. Ah, Tetsuda, always the peacemaker. That won't always save you, Kensai said, walking out with them. Peace is unattainable in this world, and violence can't be ended. Both daughters of Itoshi were passionate about something, but those things were very different. Tetsuda was convinced the world should be peaceful, with no fighting or violence. She always believed it was possible to save everyone from becoming warriors who had no respect or care for the world or the others living there. Kensai had always been a fighter, training her strength and learning to control her chakra. She believed killing and fighting were both parts of life and wouldn't stop. She thought the world would never become peaceful. I'll show you some real jutsus. Kensai told them, still 4 months ago. Eventually peace will be your end, and I'll be here to tell you I was right. Without a technique to fight, you'll always be vulnerable. So, Rina interrupted, what was that technique? My new technique can only be used once in a short amount of time, for it requires an immense amount of chakra. But even so, it could kill an enemy if it hits them perfectly. It's called Shouten Tukai. Well, that could be useful. If you believe in violence, Tetsuda mentioned. Be quiet. I have my beliefs, and you have your annoying infatuation, Kensai rudely told her little sister. Tetsuda went back inside, pouting. Kensai didn't seem to care. Okay, watch carefully and try to remember the hand signs. Kensai made the hand signals and stood silent and motionless for a moment. Then, she started glowing red. Kensai sped forward, jumped into the air, flipped backwards and smashed the ground. Everything shook and the ground cracked as she turned back to normal. So, I'm guessing that you'd be hitting a person instead of the ground, Rina said. What else would you be hitting, a cherry tree? Mocked the girl. Rina tried the technique, which worked out well, as it's hard to fail most taijutsus. The hit has so much force it could crush a brick wall, although you will get sore after using it. It's not a technique to be taken lightly. I can tell. So, do you have anything else, something less extreme? Well, there is Cage Fuda, but I don't think you'd use it, you aren't much of a defensive fighter. Wait a second, Rina asked, shadow cover? Just like the name says, it allows you to hide within the shadows of anything. It makes you invisible to the eye unless you go into sunlight. The only way your presence could be known is with Jinzo Juki, which no more than 10 people know. Well, Byakugan could see your chakra, but other than that, it's impossible to see. So how can you be seen in sunlight if you're invisible to the eye? Well, with the technique, you pretty much move as a shadow, which is easy to see in the sunlight. Here, she said, let me show you. Kensai demonstrated the technique, and she was invisible. All that could be seen was her shadow on the ground. Once she'd moved into the shade, it was impossible to see her. That'll come in handy, trust me. Rina told her.
That's all for now. If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comments.